I want to talk to you about the weirdest and grimmest diet methods ever invented by human beings. So I've been researching Ozempic for a year for a book that I've been working on, and I wanted to figure out what's the history of diet drugs? How do they work? First one was in the First World War. Group of French soldiers were working in a dynamite factory, and people noticed they lost loads and loads of weight. So a group of American scientists studied them and figured out they were actually breathing in an explosive powder and absorbing it through their skin and losing a load of weight. So these scientists turned that powder into a weight loss drug called Reducel. It was hugely popular. 100,000 Americans were taking it. And then they discovered something a bit disturbing. The way that it worked is it sped up your metabolism. But unfortunately, if you took too high a dose, you would go blind with cataracts. And if you took a really high dose, which lots of people were, because it's an explosive, it literally cooks you from the inside and you would die of a horrific and fatal fever. That one got pulled off the market. Another diet method that was sickening, that was promoted by doctors and dentists until the 1980s, was jaw wiring. It's very simple. You take an obese person and literally wire their jaw shut so all they can get through is a straw, so all they can do is drink liquids. This has many drawbacks, not least that if you start to vomit, you can choke to death and die. Still, they carried on doing this for years. And of course, it didn't have any long-term effect. You would lose loads of weight, and then the minute they removed the jaw wiring, because it didn't deal with the underlying drivers of obesity, you would go back to the weight you were and be horrifically traumatized. I think the dumbest weight loss method ever was something called the Sleeping Beauty diet. In the 70s, a load of people figured out if you're asleep, you can't gain weight. You can't eat anything. So they took huge numbers of sleeping pills and were like unconscious for 20 hours a day. And then in the 4 hours they were awake, they couldn't eat that much. Here's a tip. Not worth being thin if you have to be unconscious almost all the time.